pulled out a pad and paper and started all the calculations for rigging points from scratch by hand. I made it as painfully slow and expensive as possible, considering there was a rigging team of 8 people waiting for the info so they could hang the points and motors for the rigging. Even when the project manager was begging, pleading with me to speed it up, and that it was okay to use my device, and he was apologizing profusely, I told him he was very explicit on the rules. I reminded him of his words. If I see that effing thing out again, you'll be taken out by security and you will not be employed further. He shouldn't have pissed off the person with the plans and data to hang the show. I relented after lunch to go back to our normal work process, but only if that project manager was kept out of my sights. It's always funny when I cross paths with him on gigs, because he's very cordial and a changed person, lol. Our next Reddit post is from Clever Cubed. A few years ago, I went to a very large week-long conference in Las Vegas. On one of the evenings, our company was throwing a massive party for our customers. These parties were known to be epic, and everyone in my company who worked the booth there looked forward to it every year. But at the last minute, the CEO, wanting to keep costs down, decided the engineers weren't allowed at the party because of the cost, despite the fact that we had been busting our butts for weeks for this show. Our VP protested and was told to just take everyone out for dinner on the company's dime. So our VP took us all to a very expensive restaurant on the strip and said, "Get anything you want. Let's max out the company credit card." Everyone got Wagyu steaks, expensive wine, old scotch, and all the desserts. The bill came out to around $15,000. That is at least 10 times what allowing us into the party would have cost. I guess in this story, VP stands for very pricey. Our next Reddit post is from Yes, I'm Still an Atheist. Settle in for a bit of malicious compliance for not being helpful. This is long, but I promise to make it worth your while. I'm an IT director, though I'm the only IT person in a nonprofit with 45 employees. The place I work is a toxic nightmare only because of the CEO. Everyone else is awesome. I didn't want to leave my job or my coworkers, but I was left with no choice. I was quiet quitting for several weeks while I interviewed for new positions. I took home all of my personal items from my office. The job market for an IT person of my caliber is like Candyland right now. I quickly found a new position, and on the exact day they gave me an offer, I submitted my 2 weeks notice to my old job. Granted, I've been considering giving no notice and leaving with a fire and brimstone approach, but I read a lot of articles about resignation letters and avoiding any negativity, so I backed off and just gave a boilerplate 2 weeks notice resignation letter. Nothing positive, nothing negative. A coworker who wears several hats was selected to be the interim director. I met with that person and the chief operations officer to develop a transition plan to avoid as much chaos as possible. That person mostly worked in social media and marketing, but during the pandemic,